Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Tonight we're in a parking lot. It's about 400 spaces. These are double line radius end spaces. Just showing how to establish a baseline and then how to figure your parking spaces off your baseline. So if you look here, there's a line there, and there's lines all the way down this parking lot. So what we did was, at this far end of the curb, we picked a spot. It's a random spot. It means nothing. These spots, the lines you see on the ground, are not parking space lines. Those are for that's our baseline lines. So we're going to measure off them to establish our parking spaces. So we're going to walk down here to the beginning. This is a random spot that we picked right here. This is 0. And then turn around looking up, you'll see in front of the machine, it's approximately 10 feet off the upper side. So what we did was 0 here. We went out that way 120 feet. Then we went up this way 160 feet. Then from the 120 foot section, it's a 120 foot mark against the curb, we found where the 200 foot mark intersected our 160. We made an X. So I always write on the ground what we do. Parking lot wasn't big enough for a 200 foot one, so it's 120 against the curb line, 160 90 degrees off our 0 mark, and then it's 200 feet between our 120 and where the 120 mark intersects the 160 mark. So then we're going to walk back up here. So right here you will see that this line here is the 160 foot mark that goes straight down towards 0. This diagonal mark here is our 200 foot mark that goes down by those sewers. That's our 200 foot mark. So where these 2 points, the middle of this X is now, this line is squared off of that curb. It's one of the straighter curbs in the parking lot. So then what we do is we go down, as you saw walking down, we put marks on every place that the baseline intersects a start, stop, or center line. We go up here. This is a 9 foot parking lot. So what we did was we measure from the corner over there 9 foot. 9 foot's the center of a double stall. Our double stalls are 22 inches here. So it's 22 inches from outside to outside. If you notice, these marks are smaller. These are 18 inches on center, because we're painting with a laser and we're painting center of this, the right hand line is centered with the laser. So then we subtract 2 inches from here, 2 inches from here. That's how we set up our guns. So now when I hit this mark with the laser, the outside line will be here and one outside line will be here. So wherever you measure to all the way down the line, it'll be 9 foot center to center. What we'll do is we'll take this measurement from here to our baseline. Then we'll come down here to our start line. They'll measure from here over and put our mark. And then we know that mark and this mark are now parallel. From here we can pre-mark our 9 foot stalls going down, because we already put the offset in when we did the initial measurement. Hopefully everybody understands that. Then coming down here where you have a double row and you don't have a curb. So what I do is go to the center, because usually center of the curbs are kind of the most accurate. I'll measure from the curb. I'll come out 9 foot. I'll do my offset like I did up there, the 18 inches centered on the 9 foot mark. I'll measure from here to my zero mark on the 18. Once I have that with the auto layout, then I come up here. I have it set to mark out one space, so it's, say it's 55 feet. We'll start zero here. We'll measure down and drop a dot. That dot will line up with our mark, our stall mark. Then we come down to this side. Start here, same measurement, run down and drop another dot. When you do that, those two dots will be parallel to each other, 90 degrees to our start line. And then from there, we can measure from that point all the way down to the end of the parking lot. Same thing we do here. We'll measure off the handicaps, 9 foot, center our 18-inch mark on it. We'll measure from this point down to the 18-inch mark. Go down, set it for one spot, go down to our other start line, and then drop a dot down to the other side. I'll add it to the video to show you how we do it. And then that's how you square up the lot. That's how you use a baseline to square up a lot. Now, this lot, the stalls don't line up straight across like some lots do. So they'll offset a little bit, but they're all square to each other. This way, when you look down the parking lot, they're not all random all over the place. So we'll go up here. I'll grab the tape measure. We'll come down to this first double row, and I'll show you how I measure. In case it's a little confusing because I messed that up. I'll show you how I measure the first stall and how we do that. I think this property is over 1,000 spaces, 1,000 double line radius dense spaces, so it's fun. We're doing one lot a night, so bright light. So we mark it at 9 foot. Center of the stall. So we come here. Remember, we always paint right to left. So what I'll do is put 9 on the mark. So do 0 and 18. So what I'll do now is I'll come with the auto layout. I'll measure from my baseline I have over there where we just were standing to this mark. Set the auto layout for one stall, back up, come over here, 0 it on a baseline, drop a dot. This dot will line up exactly with our chalk mark here, with this dot, and then we'll measure over there. I'll drop another dot, and then our two dots will be parallel to each other, and then we can start running, measure, and then run all the way down to the end of the parking lot with parking spaces. And then we'll do the same thing on that one, same thing on the little one, the single stall. So let me get that thing started up and get you right back. Quick tip while we're here. You'll notice there's two chalk lines. There's an 18-foot line, 17-foot forward line. The reason we stagger the start is because when we put our radius in, which will be in a different video, you want the top of the radius when it swings up, you want that to hit your 18-foot marks. This way they're all straight. That's why if you look at the handicaps, you'll see there's 2 marks on all the handicaps. On the beginning of all the stalls, there's 2 lines. We always chalk the actual paint line, not the actual final line. Hopefully you hear me over this. So what we're going to do is go in here. We're going to put our green dot laser on our baseline. Set the auto layout to measure mode, to layout mode. We're going to hit the button. 0. We're going to drive down here to our first mark for the 18-inch. So we're going to drive here, 18-inch mark, stop right on the truck mark. Hit the button, 64.31 feet. We'll go down to here. We'll bring this down. So number of stalls is 1. Back up to our baseline. So now transferred our 64.3 feet here to 1 space. Since this is not a parking stall, let's turn this down a little bit. I don't want to put a dot here because I don't want a random dot in my parking lot. So what I'll do is I'll turn gun 1 off, line up my laser, hit the button, start. I want to start marking, so we're going to hit the button again. So now we're in the layout, we're in the dot mode. Hit the button, lights are flashing. We're going to drive forward. We're going to turn gun 1 back on. So now we're going to go down here. Helps if it actually sprays on you. Alright, we're gonna try this one again. My gun, my dot was set too low, didn't want to spray. So, put the green laser on there, on the dot on the line, turn gun 1 off, line it up, hit the button, lights are flashing, drive down here, turn 1 gun on, then down here, you should drop a dot. Hey, it worked. So now we know that dot we just put down is the same as our 18-inch mark we measured. So now we're going to drive back here to our other side of our double stall. Turn gun 1 off. Line the dot up on the chalk line. Hit the button. Lights are flashing. Turn gun 1 back on. Drive up here. Drop. Alright, I'm gonna try to do this so we can line up with the laser and so now put our laser here. Show you here. Laser on the chalk, on the dot, on the chalk line, and on the dot. So now I can pre-mark, I can measure going down, pre-mark this double row, we're ready to go. That's how you use a baseline to set up your stalls. And here's our last double row. So laser on the dot, alt for layout mode, hit the button, goes to 0, starts flashing. We drive down to our 18-inch mark down here. Hit the button. 43.08. We adjust that down to 1 stall. We drive down to the bottom mark. We put the dot back on our baseline. Turn gun 1 off. Line it up, hit the button, just to change venues, hit the button, start marking, hit the button again, lights start flashing, move forward, turn gun 1 back on. Now we drive down here until that sprays. There you go. Now, everything we do here, double line, we always paint from right to left. If I wanted to come up the hill on this one, see right now I have this section offset to paint down. Actually, mine's almost perfectly double. So now with my double gun going out, had to paint going this way, to my left. So if I was on the other end of the parking lot, let me turn around here. If I wanted to paint this direction, back into anything. Once I'd mark my 9-foot mark here, minus 9 inches, and that would give me the offset to paint this double row from my right to the left. So you have to have your offset right. I always paint down a hill. I never paint up a hill. It just makes it a little bit easier driving that way. So, and with the laser, with the double lines, you only can paint one direction. You only can paint going down. You have to back up and down every time to make it work. Cross, you make a mistake. So I'll just show you the auto layout. We're going to go down here to remember all the saws are 9 center. So we're going to put our green dot on our 9-foot center mark. We're going to hit layout mode. Number saws we're not worried about. We're going to hit 0, screen, and we're going to drive down into the parking lot. It says we have 5.8 stalls of 43 foot wide. Well, obviously we don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to increase the number of stalls until we get down to as close to 9 as possible. 8.93 or 926. Definitely 9.3. This lot has been a little less than accurate. So now that we know our stalls are going to be just an inch less than 9 foot, because that's what the curbs will let us do. We're going to back up to the beginning, and we're going to start pre-marking on our dot, because we know the dot is the actual left-hand line of the doubles we're going to paint. So we'll line it up. Hit the button. We're going to start marking, hit the button again. We're on the layout screen and transferred our 8.93 feet. We're going to line up our dot right in the middle of our existing dot, hit the button, and it worked. So now we're just going to drive down, not slow, well, you got 3 miles an hour. If you go too fast, you get a big dot. A little bit less accurate on a big job like this. Drive down and paint the dots. All right. Now we'll back up to the all the way back to the beginning on the other start mark. Would that be a stop line? Go all the way back to our dot that we're going to be looking for. And right here's our dot. So line up our dot and our, there we go. Now we're going to run this one all the way down. when they put this light pole base in. So we're going to put a mark in the center of the base. Then what we're going to do is we're going to actually put a chalk line. Put the laser connecting dot and the chalk mark up there that we did before. So they'll bring the top of each building. There we go. Take our chalk stick. We're going to mark approximately the center of this. Should be somewhere around here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to measure from that chalk mark I just put in to see where that light pole base falls. Don't have too high hopes that this will fall right where it should be, so what we're going to do is we're going to set, since we measured, so we're going to hit stall calculator, we're in there, put the dot on my chalk mark, hit the button, change to zeros, lights flashing, let's drive down. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bump this up to 9 foot. And it's going to offset us about this far. And if you look here, I don't know if you guys can see it on the video. 9 foot space, 10.4. It's not horrible. So I think we can make that work. This way the light pole base is not in the middle of a parking space. So we're going to back up. We got to drive down this one. And we got to measure. But remember, that's an offset mark. That mark's 9 inches off. So we're at actually 9'9" right now. So we're going to take off that 9 inches, I'm sorry. Now we're back to the center of the mark. Put a magnet back to the tape measure. Works great for easy on, easy off the riders. So put the mark dot on our green on our line, hit button. We're going to start. We're going to cancel. We want to start a new measurement. So we're going to hit B. Actually work the stall calculator. We're going to hit 0. We're going to drive down to the end of the park. This hits the curb. There. So it says 21.251 stalls. So we're going to go down to even out 21. That's 9.11 feet. Which we'll accept that. So what we'll do is we'll drop our last dot over here. Drop our last dot over here. Then we take this little piece as a whole separate entity from what we just did over here. Because we don't want a huge offset in the middle of the curb and actually lose a parking space because our offsets were wrong. So we'll take that as its own piece once we get this pre-marked. But I am going to do one thing to show off the camera for a minute. Got to go Google Earth and count to make sure that we have 22 spaces in this row before I pre-mark. Just double check this. Hold on 1 second. So what we're going to do is we'll go down here. We'll go down to this first single row. we're gonna do a single row now. So we have our 9 foot with our offset marked already. So we're gonna put our dot on the baseline, hit our button, and we're measuring. Go down here, slow down over the manhole so it doesn't mess up our measurements. Stop on the first 18-inch mark, button. So we're less than 1 stall from before, so we go up. So now we're 42.79 feet from the baseline. So we come back to here. We go here, we hit button, button, turn gun 1 off because we don't want to put a dot on our baseline. Hit a button, we're flashing, move, turn the button back on. Now we drive up here. There you go. So now these 2 marks, my chalk line and that dot, are now parallel. That's square with everything else we put down tonight. Just like that. So that's how you use baseline. That's how everything keeps looking good. Everything's straight across. Might not be parallel exactly, but they'll all be straight in line with each other. This lot doesn't stack like a lot of lots do. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any comments or questions about this. It's a little bit weird to get used to at first when you first start to lay out. I will show you one thing down here. We're here at our measurements. So we did 30 times 4, 40 times 4, and 50 times 4. 3, 4, 5, just like the earlier video I did. We just add 0 to it, times it by 4. So we had 120 foot off the curb. We had 160 feet out from our 0 mark, and then from 160 feet, you just put a line like that. Then from the 120, come straight up, and where these 2 lines intersect is your square to 0. Hopefully that explains a little bit better than what I was showing you before. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Thanks a lot.